Football is often called the beautiful game, and one of the reasons for that is the skills. Pro footballers can do some pretty insane tricks, but in this video I'm going to be learning football tricks that are too difficult even for the best footballers in the world to do.
Well, I try my best. Yeah.
And by the end of the video I will have hopefully landed one of the hardest tricks of all time. Right, so first things first, I'm going to take a look at some pro footballers doing their best tricks and see what we've got to compete with. Right, first up, obviously Ronaldinho, the pioneer of freestyle football skills. What a bloke. Someone will surprise you is actually Lewandowski. He's actually really good at freestyle. Mahrez, little toe bounce around the world, nice. Little hop the world, not bad. El Shaarawy, few around the world. See, nothing too crazy so far. Pogba, now that is nice from Pogba. He's comboed that. That's a difficult trick right there. Hazard, knee around the world. That's something you don't normally see from footballers. Tuzani around the world, nice. Now I don't know if it's just me, but when I watch Ronaldo do any sort of football tricks, he seems a bit jittery and like, just not as smooth as someone like Ronaldinho. Obviously he's still really good, but it's just interesting. Now Messi is an interesting one when it comes to skills. Obviously his ball control is just like insane, next level. If you watch him here just doing a few tricks, the control on the knees, on the head, on the shoulders, like he's got it all. But you never see him doing around the world or any tricks like that. Here's one, around the world, hop the world combo. Not bad. Right, so those are some pretty decent tricks, but I do think there's one footballer that is better than any other pro when it comes to skills, and that man is Neymar Jr. Neymar just seems to have a lot more tricks in his locker than any other footballer. This toe bounce heel around the world is just really nice, and he just seems to experiment a lot more with tricks. So for me, Neymar is the best footballer at skills. But what is the hardest trick any pro footballer can do? Right, so I'm pretty sure this is the most difficult trick I've ever seen a pro footballer do. It's called the Homie Tuzani around the world, and it looks like this. Let me set it up. Boom. So yeah, not that impressive, right? So this is the hardest skill I've ever seen a pro footballer do. It's a 2-revolution trick, which means you go around the ball twice, and I'm sure anyone watching this video could learn this trick if they put the time in. Now, before I can land one of the hardest tricks ever, I'm going to learn 6 of the tricks that pro footballers can't do. I'm going to start easy, but each trick will get more difficult, until at the end of the video I will hopefully be doing my best trick ever. Now, the first skill that footballers can't do is called the spin magic. The reason footballers can't do this trick is because they probably don't know it even exists. Right, so I'm going to do the spin magic now. It might not look that impressive, but trust me, it's harder than it looks. So for the spin magic, I'm basically just letting the ball bounce off my toe and then kicking it up with my other foot and making the ball spin. It's all about timing. It's not a crazy hard trick to do, but it looks super cool. And it doesn't actually require much practice, unlike this next trick, which took me months to learn. Heel juggles are something I've never seen a pro baller do. I've only ever seen footballers do 1 or 2 kicks with their heels. It's a really impressive skill to watch, and if you can do this, you'll have a trick in your locker that even the pros can't do. So the next trick that no pro footballers do, and something you can learn if you want to separate yourself from the pack, is doing combos. A combo is basically doing multiple moves together with no extra touches in between. When pro footballers do skills, they'll do one trick, then juggle the ball and then do another. Whereas if you can do tricks in one fluid motion, it makes everything look a lot better. Here's an example. A pro footballer might do this where he's taking touches in between each trick. But a freestyler will put them all together with no extra touches, which is more difficult to do, but it will take your skills to the next level. Next up, we've got a trick called the Sven around the world. This is one of the hardest tricks I can do, and there's definitely no footballers that can do this one. It's a combination of an around the world and a 360 around the world, all in one go. It looked so cool and took me years to learn. Next up is one of the coolest skills of the video. It's the reload. It's a really unique trick, and once again one that I've never seen a footballer do. You're basically hitting the ball down into the ground and then up in one smooth motion, and trust me, it's a lot harder than it looks. But this next skill on the list is one of the coolest ones I've ever landed. Now, before we get on to trying one of the hardest tricks ever, the next skill that footballers don't do is something called a transition. A transition is a skill that moves you from standing up to sitting down. This was an example of one that I landed recently, but now I'm going to try and do a trick that takes this to the next level. Transitions are some of the most impressive tricks out there, and here's what I'm planning on doing. So first up, I'll flick the ball over my head, heel it back in the air, do a forward roll, and then control the ball sitting down. First up, I need to make sure I can do the heel consistently. Once I could consistently do the heel over the head, it was all about just trying this trick over and over again. And then eventually, I did this.
Yes! Wow, I wasn't sure if I was actually going to get this, but that's another trick ticked off.
So now it's time to see if I can do one of the craziest football tricks ever. I spoke to 5-time world freestyle football champion Andrew Henderson to help me explain the trick and to see if he could give me any advice on how I can land it and how long he thinks it's going to take me. So what do you know about this trick, mate? It's difficult, we know that.
So it's difficult. You're doing 3 times around the ball in one touch. So you kick it with one foot, you go around, and then with the other foot you go around, and then you go around again with the same foot you started off with. So 3 times around the ball in like less than a second.
How long do you think it's going to take me?
You're pretty skillful. I know you got the skills somewhere tucked away. It's going to take a while. It takes some guys 5, 6, 7, 8 years to perfect the skills. So I don't know if you can do it. I don't know.
Right, so today's day 1 of attempting to land the hardest trick I've ever done and one of the hardest tricks of all time. So maybe if I'm lucky, I can do it today. Right, so this trick is called the Scala around the world, and this is what it looks like. So you're going to go 3 times round the ball, boom, 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 and it all happens in less than a second. So it's like this, boom, 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 without the ball touching the floor or you touching the ball again. Not a good start. I really don't see how I'm going to get the speed to do this. Boom, boom, boom. Let's just do it slowly to start off with. So, boom, boom, boom. I need to be more flexible for this. Oh, I'm just miles off though. It hits the floor way before my foot even gets round. Right, so that's day 1 done. This trick could take ages. So day 1 done, and I knew a lot of work had to be done if I wanted to land this trick. And day 2 wasn't much better either. Day 3 and I was still miles off the pace. I also realised I probably wasn't flexible enough, so made sure I did a lot of stretching for the next day, and things were actually a lot better. My legs felt like they were getting a lot quicker. It's also worth mentioning that I could only really try for an hour a day, as after that my legs would just get too tired and lose all their speed and power. So by day 4, this was the first day I actually believed I'd be able to land it, as I was getting fairly close. And then by day 7, well, I'll just let you watch the footage.
Homicide, genocide, televised, emphasize, perpetuating war, pick a side, hood ties from hood life. Slide, homicide, genocide, televised, emphasize, perpetuating pick a side, hood ties from hood, dope lines, I'm running to the cops, that's a big exercise.
So day 7 was the best I'd felt so far. My legs were feeling fast and I knew I was getting close, until eventually Right, so I'm watching this back and there's actually a bit of a problem. I don't think I actually did it. Watch this. If I slowly rewind the footage back, boom, the ball touches the floor and bounces back up. Oh no. I carried on trying for another 3 days until I did this.